Good evening. I'm Chuck Todd here in Washington, real nonfiction Washington, I swear. Welcome to MTP Daily, and welcome to a 5-alarm dumpster fire for the White House. Or shall we call it Bannon's Rebellion? The Russia investigation has been blown open in dramatic fashion. Not by the fake news media, not by the deep state Justice Department, but by Steve Bannon. And in response, the president is now trying to destroy Bannon. In a new book, Bannon is quoted as calling the Trump campaign, quote, treasonous and unpatriotic. He says Trump Jr. and Jared Kushner could face money laundering charges. He says there's no way the president did not know about that infamous Trump Tower meeting where the campaign thought it was getting Russian access dirt to incriminate Hillary Clinton. Bannon says he told the president to his face that his defense of that meeting was, quote, insane. And Bannon said it using words I can't say on live television. I don't know if I can even say it on tape delay. And in response, President Trump went nuclear today on Bannon in ways that were both jaw-dropping and laughable and oddly, weirdly predictable as far as this president's concerned. In a statement, the president said the following. Steve Bannon has nothing to do with me or my presidency. When he was fired, he not only lost his job, he lost his mind. Steve doesn't represent my base. He's only in it for himself. Guys, Steve Bannon was the president's chief political strategist and the Trump campaign's chief executive. So it is beyond ludicrous to argue that he has nothing to do with Mr. Trump or his presidency. But the White House made it clear again and again at this afternoon's briefing that statement is their story, and they're just simply going to stick to it.
I think the president's statement is extremely clear what his position on Mr. Bannon is. Once again, I think the president's statement fully addresses what his position and what his relationship with Mr. Bannon is. Once again, I think the president and his feelings toward Mr. Bannon are very clear. Look, these are the president's words. I think they're very clear, and there's not much to add beyond that.
And there's no controlling legal authority either. And folks, of all the people to blow up the president's narrative that the Russia investigation is some kind of hoax or that investigators won't find anything, who could have predicted it would be the guy who runs Breitbart? In Michael Wolff's new book, Fire and Fury, Bannon is quoted as saying this about the Trump Tower meeting. Even if you thought that this was not treasonous or unpatriotic or bad, you know what, and I happen to think it's all of that, you should have called the FBI immediately. No one in the campaign did contact the FBI about it. Bannon also recounts a confrontation he had with the president. The president said to me, everybody would take that Don Jr. meeting with the Russians. I said, everybody would not take that meeting. I said, I'm a naval officer. I'm not going to take a meeting with Russian nationals and do it in a headquarters. Are you insane? I think you can guess what the expletive was there. Then Bannon goes on to implicate Mr. Trump himself. The chance that Don Jr. did not walk these jamos, meaning the Russians, up to his father's office on the 26th floor is zero. By the way, go ahead and do jamos in the Urban Dictionary and you'll see what it is. Both the White House and the Russian lawyer in that meeting say there was no contact with Mr. Trump. But Bannon does not stop there. He goes on to say this about the Russia probe. You realize where this is going. This is all about money laundering. Their path to Trump goes right through Paul Manafort, Don Jr., and Jared Kushner. It's as plain as a hair on your face. It goes through Deutsche Bank and all the Kushner, you know what? The Kushner this is greasy. They're going to go right through that. They're going to roll those two guys up and say, play me or trade me. Wow. Let's bring in tonight's panel. Carol Lee is a national political reporter with NBC News. Michael Steele is an MSNBC political analyst and former RNC chairman. And Jennifer Palmieri was the communications director for both the Obama White House and the Clinton campaign. And is probably, can't believe she's going to find herself saying things like, Steve Bannon is right.
There was so much he was right.
There was so much he was right. You never thought how wise that Steve Bannon was, did you?
So
Michael Steele,
Happy New Year.
Yeah, all right. There's an level of absurdity to this, but wow, it's explosive. And if you're dealing in the 30% of this country that is basically